Hello, my name is Larry Burkholder, Training Manager, Digger Specialties. Thank you for watching this screen fabric installation video. So in this video I'm going to demonstrate putting screen fabric in this opening from this rail to the bottom rail, left to right. And this is a 36-inch tall by 41-inch wide opening. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to the floor here. I have my screen fabric rolled out. I'm going to cut a piece of screen fabric at least 6 inches larger than 36 by 41. This is charcoal fiberglass mesh, the most popular screen fabric in the market, and you're going to be able to cut this with just a sharp utility knife blade. Here are the tools that I'll be using on this charcoal fiberglass mesh screen fabric installation. Obviously a tape measure and a utility knife. And then I have two different types of screen rollers here. There's more expensive with the metal wheels and the less expensive with the plastic wheels. Believe it or not, I prefer the plastic wheel because I am an amateur at this, and I always end up cutting my screen fabric if I'm using the metal wheels. And there's times that you're going to want a flathead screwdriver to force the spline in at the end. So we're going to be using a flat spline. And what you will want to be doing is, I'm going to demonstrate this prior to cutting the spline, prior to installing screen fabric, just to demonstrate. And you will feel the flat side of the spline with your finger. And you always want to be forcing the flat spline towards the outer edge of the profile. A round spline does not work in this application. The reason we use a flat spline, it's a much stronger spline than a round spline. Round splines work great for screen doors and smaller openings, but for larger openings you're going to want a flat spline. Just like the screen fabric, you want several inches to spare on either side. You're going to want to have extra spline to work with as well. So I'm going to cut this about this length. We now have just a short segment installed here. And your first installation point is always going to be at the top. Then you want to do left side or right side or vice versa and do the bottom last. So we're going to run the screen and spline, both dimensions here. And why don't we just do that right now? And I kind of like to pull my screen and spline together. And often it's the fatter of the two wheels that works the best. And I'm going to go right up to this point and stop. And then I'm going to do this with my left hand and simply run right down through here. We're now ready to work on the left side. And I always kind of like to, as I work up my way up through here, is to kind of keep my screen a little taut, so we don't have bunches in the corner. We're ready to put the bottom spline in place, and I have it started here in the center. Each spline pulls the screen about 1/4 inch, and you can feel this is going to get nice and taut. This was a little bit more difficult to get started, and what I did is I took my spline roller and put a crease in the screen fabric to get the spline in here. But I just have this a couple inches here in place, and now I'm ready to go left and right. Okay, I'm pleased with what I have here as far as the tautness of the screen fabric. And now we're simply ready to come along with your utility knife and flathead screwdriver and trim all this. What I'm ready to do here is run my utility knife. Make sure you're on the outer side of the screen fabric and not the inner side. And there's a nice little notch here that you can run your utility knife down without marring the finish. And you can see how this just kind of comes apart. The corners are the most interesting. So we're going to get a portion of it in both directions. I'm going to trim my spline. I'm going to take my flathead screwdriver and force the spline into position here. Now, I'm by no means a professional at putting in screen. In fact, this is the first screen fabric that I put in this year, and it's December. But an average homeowner with patience and with decent hand-eye coordination can install their own screen fabric. Obviously, it's not going to be done as well as what a professional would do. But thank you for watching this ScreenRail screen fabric installation video. You have a great day.